We're just on YouTube.
Yeah. Which, I mean, the only reason I want it is so I don't have to like save the video and then re-upload it. It's automatically on YouTube, to be honest.
You should make that announcement that we are now
Yeah. So,
YouTube. What are they paying us for exclusivity?
oh, we can't even talk about it. Live tour numbers though. Live tour numbers. We're unmuted, by the way, too, because I don't even have like a start screen or anything on this. So literally, like I was always in my back of my head. It's like, I need to get this set up on the laptop in case we ever record a show. And then you're like, it's like, oh, we're doing it tonight. Okay.
You know what? So if Adam's here, shout out to Adam. I saw his
Right.
tweet and I was like, you know what? It's not a bad idea. Kids come in, we'll get into all that.
Let's
But
get it out of the way now. Yeah.
yeah. God, this camera is so crappy.
Like it picks up no light whatsoever.
No light, like
All right. Let's see. I just put in the Discord. Boom. Tweet. Copy the link. That's how we do it. All right. All right. You ready?
yeah.
Let me just hit record on this. Hello, welcome, what is up? And welcome to episode 401 of the Centering Esports podcast. And this is going to be the best episode ever because we are back, just like we said we would, right? A little hiatus, and we're back for now. We're going to talk all the drama that's happened with the VCT teams being announced, tell you exactly why you can finally start caring, and maybe some Carlos drama. Maybe we'll have time to talk about it. I can't make promises anymore. We'll see, but we'll dive into the Carlos stepping down as G2's CEO as well. But before we do any of it, let me tell you about the show's sponsor. It's the same one G2's has. So there you have it, which isn't one. So, rip.
Okay, so let's start.
Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome. Welcome back to another edition of The Centering, aka TCR, aka your favorite esports podcast, coming to you live and or pre-recorded from an undisclosed location. The date is 9/24/22. The time is 9:41 p.m. What do I normally say here? It's been so long.
I was zoned out. I was thinking of how I can make my camera brighter.
That's not gonna happen.
I have an idea.
mean,
You're about to see.
you need to turn up some, put on like a white screen on your computer or something. That's gonna be about it. But no, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Follow us on Twitter at the Center Ring. That's normally what I say. If you're on YouTube, why don't you go ahead and subscribe, like it, leave a comment, do anything you can to fight the algorithm, or more importantly, just to boost our egos. And if you're on iTunes, Spotify, any of that, go ahead, download it, follow, leave a review, whatever. We appreciate it. My name is Tim. I will be your captain for this journey into esports, and alongside me, as always, is my best friend, my brown friend. It's Anuj. What's up?
Dude, how nice is this? A little reunion early on. I knew it would happen. I really did. I was just waiting for like what was going to be the trigger.
Right.
There had to be a trigger to pull us back in, especially with the baby this close around the corner. But there was enough. There was enough, and I think the people wanted it more than anything.
I mean, this was an on demand, right? Like, we went back. I don't know. It's been what? Maybe like a month. Probably just about a month. I think a month almost to the date. Since we did 400, so we were going to go on hiatus. We're still on the hiatus. This is exactly what we were talking about, though. It's allowing us to come back, maybe a show a month. Maybe something big happens and we want to do another show next week. Who knows? Right from the hospital, as Anuj's wife is pushing out his second born.
I'm still getting permission right now on the IRL stream.
I mean, it would break boundaries.
And if we go back to Twitch, I can go south of the border.
Front page if we were on Twitch.
Yeah.
Front page. And if anyone says anything about it, well, you know what? I guess you're just non-feminist. So,
It's natural.
Pregnancy is beautiful. It's really not, though. Don't let anyone ever tell you that. It's not.
There's a lot going on. There's just a lot going on.
Look, sometimes it's best not to know how your food is made, and that is one of those times. Just don't look. You'll never see anything more not human like happen to a human. It's just
You feel pretty blessed in that moment to not have to go through that.
Right. But no, so look,
it's beautiful.
Is this beautiful? Is this sooner than what we thought we would be doing another show? A little bit, but are we upset about it? Absolutely not, because it's been difficult. I know, especially the week or two after 400, we were like, damn, we could do 2 shows right now. We could rip off 2 shows, and there's enough going on to where it'd be easy to talk about, with VCT.
We held some restraint. At that point.
Yeah. And don't get it twisted. Even right now, both of our wives are annoyed at us for doing this, but we try to explain, listen, it's 9:45 at night. All the kids are asleep. You spend 3 hours a day on the phone with your mother. Just imagine us being on the phone. That's all
I'm
it
just
is.
having a quick call with Tim about the drama that's going on.
Right. Just a quick chat with an old friend. So, I'm super pumped. I'm super excited to get back into it, at least for this one time. And it was either kind of a now or never, because your baby is literally around the corner.
We got possibly 1 hour.
One day. Right. You could get the phone call in the middle of this to be like, okay, wrap it up. We got to go. So, we knew it was either now or the real hiatus would start, and we would have to really take that break. So,
and you're probably noticing some changes right off the bat. We don't have an overlay.
Yeah.
It didn't have a cool intro screen for you. I'm impressed that you had the music ready to go.
Well, the music is on the mixer board. There's onboard memory. So thankfully,
that's still there.
That's all there. Didn't have a liner because the liner came from the computer, because there's not that much memory on this thing. But that that is actually pretty functional. And I'm off my laptop right now. It's not direct connected. It's going off the Wi-Fi, so we'll see how this goes. Right now, I mean, it looks fine, right?
Looks great.
Looks good. You're in your new house.
I'm in the new house. You can probably tell I don't have my equipment set up, like in terms of streaming.
Still packed away.
It's not even that it's packed away. Like I just don't think I'm gonna set most of that stuff back up. You know, it was just so many cables,
It really
and
was.
not doing the show consistently. It's nice to kind of eliminate it. You know, maybe I'll get the key light up just for the sake of like not having to figure out a white background to give me some light on my face. But yeah, I mean, like the camera looks so shoddy. It's bothering me knowing that it's even a one-off. It's bothering me.
Yeah. No, I was able to jerry-rig my setup, but at a different angle, as anyone who's watching can tell. But this is good because I wanted to test it in the live environment to where when we ever do one-off episodes, like I could take this to your house and we could have the setup. Like
Yeah.
it wouldn't really be any different. You know, it would work. So
Well, when we get the
check mark there.
the movie room set up, we can do it out of that room.
Yeah, it would look,
Some lounger chairs.
you know, I think it would be great. I'm glad this was on demand. The boys were asking for it. People were demanding it. The industry is in shambles without us. So we figured why not do one more as a community service before baby number 2 is here for a Nuge. And
I felt like there was
Boy.
a string of retirement announcements right after we also called it. You know, whether it was players like Crim6, you know, obviously the announcement, unfortunately, of Juke. Hopefully they can turn that around. But there was like some other stuff in between where I felt like there was a handful of announcements towards, you know, just kind of other content creators. I think Richard Lewis, you know, a couple others.
yeah, I'm not going to lie. I have not been paying attention. It's been kind of beautiful. And it's not because I don't care. I just needed to cut myself off. Like,
Yeah. I didn't cut off
needed that.
Twitter. I thought I would and take a break from it, but I use it for like just normal everyday nonsense news, and then I end up seeing, you know, whatever just gets highlighted for the day.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think for like a week or two, I was just completely, the world was dead to me because
Yeah.
I needed to have the
There hasn't
breakaway.
been a HLTV or VLR.GG sighting in a little while.
Yeah, like it just, and it's not like, oh, esports is dead to me, therefore I don't care. It's just, you know, what a time to quit right when football was starting. That's been a blessing. But
Have you watched in general like any esports since over the last month?
yeah, so actually funny that you asked, because I was actually going to say, now that I don't have to pay attention to Valorant or anything as much, like obviously I still watch it, but I'm watching it right now on my other monitor. I've watched more Halo than I have any other esport in the last month.
Well, that, you know, probably is a little bit understandable because we're never going to talk about it, right? So it's hard to watch that along with
Right.
everything else that we were going to talk about. I've been watching a little bit of ESL Pro League, and then I watched Valorant Champions, but
I watched
really
Champs.
only the late
Right.
stages of that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. Yeah, and you know, I watched a little bit of the Pro League, watched some Cloud9 earlier today, here and there, but Halo is kind of it's like now that it's like, I guess like you said, yeah, now that we're ever worried to talk about everything, it's like, oh, I can kind of just focus on what.
You can watch wherever you want.
Right. So right now I'm watching Cloud9 versus FaZe in the semifinals at HCS Orlando. So shout out Canada. You know, he runs the esports arena up there. And I guess he was saying they had a bunch of like 7 or 8 teams like practice out of there, like for warm-ups and stuff.
That's dope.
Yeah. So pretty legit. So yeah, I've been watching some Halo, been playing some game. Honestly, man, you want to know how much being an adult sucks? I bought God of War when it was on sale last Friday. Not like yesterday Friday.
Yeah, like a week ago.
A week ago. You can look on my Steam. I'm not making this up. Not 1 second. I installed it. I haven't even opened the game.
On Steam, I've probably done that with a game or two, unfortunately, where it's like, but not one that I probably bought. More of a free-to-play game that I'm like, oh,
I mean, I
I'll
bought
play
it
this.
like I want to play God of War. I
Yeah.
didn't have it for the PlayStation. I want to play it. It was on sale for $40. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do this. I haven't had, because that's not like a game where you're like, all right, I got 20 minutes. Let me boot this up.
All I've been playing is Aram. A little bit of CS with you if you're on, but 90% Aram. Like, and that's been two of my buddies that have been on. Like, that's all they like to really play. That are on. I was like, okay, screw it, I'll join. I've been having fun with it. I suck, but I've been enjoying it. Like, it's been a good time.
Yeah, and see, honestly, that will probably be the time where I can play. Is like if I get on and you're on like playing League with them, I'll be okay. This is my time to either play Gundam or God of War, or because I'll get on League. I have it installed, but I know even less than you and suck 1,000 times more. So, like
It's more the reaction of the two clowns I play with that make it enjoyable.
right. Like, and thank God it's just ARAM, because I don't have to like feel bad if we lose.
I did not realize I have over 500 ARAM games now played
That's a
since
lot.
the game came out. It's quite a bit, actually.
I would say that's a lot.
I still suck. Like, I understand. I just can't get good at it.
Well, I mean, you can't pick your hero or whatever. So that's
the one thing is, like, that's all I play. I don't play Summoner's Rift.
Right.
So I'm never getting the same character, it feels like.
right. Like if you could pick your guy, it would be completely different.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
But yeah. No, it's really been kind of, I thought quitting the show, we were like, oh man, yeah, we just need more time and blah, blah, blah. Boy, our wives filled that time really quick.
Right. I put myself in this predicament. We ended up moving during that time. And I mean, I don't even know. Did I have the house when we did the last show? I don't think I did.
No. This was,
Yeah.
you literally put in the offer, I think.
Like around
Like
that
right
time.
then. I think maybe you just got it.
Close,
I think you got it
we-
accepted like during the show. Like I think you had to like go away for a second during the episode or something like that. But life's changed, man. Life's changed.
It has. So yeah, we're here in the new crib and enjoying life and excited to get 401 under the books. And let's talk about why we're here, Tim.
Yes, because a shit ton has happened in esports, but really in the last week, the Valorant and esports scene has just blown up. So we obviously had champs. It was great. Everyone loved it. But forever since VCT has started, Anuj and I have always been hesitant to jump in, right? We've said it. We were very, very honest up front. Like, yeah, it's entertaining, but I don't want to get attached to half these orgs that aren't going to be here in different formats. And, I'm just, call me when the league starts up. Call me when the partnered league starts up. So they finally announced it. I'm glad they didn't waste any time. Like, Riot was pretty much like, okay, champs is done. Boom. We're moving on to the next chapter of Valorant esports. So I appreciate them for that. But obviously everyone knows the teams right now, Anuj. Any surprises to you that are either on or off the list? And obviously we'll get into the G2 being off of it and why here in a minute. I just kind of wanted to talk in general about the teams that made it.
Yeah, I mean, surprises for on the list were like obviously like Leviathan. I thought I should say the split between. Let's just start there. For me, the surprise was how they kind of split up America's region. Right, they went 5-5, 5 for NA, 5 for SA. That is, I feel like maybe that's a little bit too imbalanced. There should have been maybe an extra team for NA just because of the amount of teams that are participating from these regions right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a little surprised for the 5-5 split. Obviously, Tim, like FaZe not making it, Optic not making it, XSET not making it, TSM not making it. Like those were all really big surprises. Not every single one of them necessarily, but in their own way, each of those teams could make a case, right? Optic being the best team for as long as they have been in NA, XSET being just as competitive for the most part the last year plus now. FaZe because of brand reputation. All these teams
Right.
like make it TSM because of past relationships. Like all these cases that we were thinking about early on. It was kind of surprising at the end of the day the 5 that were selected. Not all of them,
Right.
but
Well, so I think prior to, I think you were big on you thought prior relations were going to have a lot to weigh in, right? And that's why
I really did.
we were worried about CLG making it in when they've been non-existent in Valorant. And if they got a team, I was going to rage. Thank God that didn't happen.
Yeah.
We don't have to suffer through watching CLG in anything. But I am a little surprised. It's hard to argue some of the teams that made it there. Obviously, Leviathan being like the odd man out, right? And I kind of feel bad for shitting on them, but like we looked last night and they only had like 70-something thousand followers on Twitter.
Yeah, and ranked in the 40s for the region type thing. So it was just
like, I understand they want to be representing of everywhere, but at the same time, if that means you're just going to send them to the slaughter every single week, like what? And maybe just by chance they, there's only so many roster spots now, and we just had a top tier rush of free agents. You think they would have to kind of sign or want to sign players within their region. So maybe we don't see that change with them. But other than them,
like Ninja's not making it for Brazil, right? Like,
yeah.
and NIP was a team that you thought, like, think of the two brands here. When you have Leviathan and you have NIP, from an outsider's perspective, it seems like a super obvious choice. So
Leviathan is the one, and I feel bad because it's like everyone's shitting on them, but at the same time, it's like, do you know where the bodies are buried? Like, what was Riot's reasoning to be like, yes, we need these guys in? Because as we said, past relationships look like it had some, right? We do see a lot of league teams in here, but not all. And
obviously current rankings had nothing.
To do with it because Optic's out.
XZ is out.
So it really, like, the question is warranted on like what's the deal with that?
Yeah, so let's talk about a couple of them, right? Because you and I did this the other day, and it kind of stemmed me into saying maybe we should do a show because we were just talking about this stuff anyway. But like,
shout out Adam, right? Tweeting us saying, hey, and I was literally about to like text you to be like, I was about to respond to Adam's tweet saying you guys need to do an episode, being like, oh, well, you got to ask Anu, just kind of up to him. I'm always down. And then boom, you text me as I was about to send the tweet. Like, let's do the show.
Yeah. Okay. So we were already talking about this, and Optic, we said, okay, there wasn't a great past relationship with Riot backing out from an LEC spot that they had, I guess, available to them at one point. Optics also changed hands a lot just in the past like 5 years alone. So
and I know Optic fans, like, it's tough to hear this, especially if you're like OG Greenwall, nation and all that. Like, I understand it's hard to hear this, but you don't change ownership 4 or 5 times because you're so stable and just, oh man, everyone just wants to buy me out, so therefore I'm going to do it. Like,
I think like they're probably the most stable now in the sense of like there's not going to be another big change of hands with Optic, right? Like the merger with Envy seems like a pretty permanent fixture, but you go along with the previous issue that Riot and Optic had at one point. Like, okay, that could be enough to maybe boot them out.
But if Optic was this powerhouse of a financial org, they would not have merged with Envy to begin with. They would have kept it all in-house with Optic. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So I am surprised to not see Optic there because of how good they were in Valorant. Right?
It could even be their relationship with Activision, right? The fact that they're in both CDL and Overwatch League, like maybe
it could be, but I think there's also
something.
I do buy into the theory of the past relations with Riot, where the last time, Optic had an LCS team and they were kind of dog shit and backed out, Yeah. So I don't think that left a good mark with that relationship, and they're probably like, well, you guys kind of had a chance here. I wonder for Optic, when did they know they didn't make it, right? Because they had to have been feeling pretty confident unless Riot was giving them hints like, yo, this isn't going to happen.
They went all the way down to the wire, right? They obviously made it as one of the last teams to be considered, and who knows, for future expansions, maybe
For sure. It's just,
like
you
that
know,
happens. But
easily you could argue the number one NA team, right? Consistency wise, anyways. And for them not to make it, I think was like a whoa. Okay. Riot had a different, like, this was not just take the best teams and the most popular out there.
I mean, well, Sentinels, right? Like Sentinels would be
Like, that's the
not the
outlier,
best team, but we're
right?
talking about popularity.
Popularity
I feel
wise.
like they're a growing org still.
Right. But
They
again, I
obviously
think
have
though,
money.
from the fact that they broke the piggy bank before all of this, I think really helped them too.
Did Sentinels make more sense than Optic? Or would you have rather had, like, do you think it makes more sense than Optic? I guess, yeah.
No, not really, but not enough to where it's like I'm gonna fight for it, you know?
Yeah.
If it were up to me and you said Optic or Sentinels, I would say Optic, just from the branding, the fact that they were better, you know, it is a more established in the history of esports org and things like that. So I would definitely say Optic over Sentinels. But
Do you think
not enough to fight for?
I don't think it did, but do you think the Shroud, like the building that hype kind of here over the last month and a half around Valorant by signing Shroud, not saying that the league cares to have Shroud in there in the sense of like, I don't think Shroud will be one of the
I think it
25
helped.
North
I really
Americans.
do.
You think that helped?
I really do. I really think it showed that they were at least committed enough to create hype, you know?
Yeah.
Like they
Like,
weren't just
They
rolling
were in a
over.
last chance qualifier and did that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, they weren't rolling over. They were like, no, we're going to spend the money because you know Shroud wasn't cheap to come back. So I think that helped.
I think FaZe and TSM both got rejected for the same reasons. I think there's a lack of trust with both of those orgs. Even though TSM is an LCS already, I think they've shown that there is like a little bit more going on behind the scenes there. And it's not all like, you know.
Right. And you know, I wouldn't have thought that had we not just had the G2 Carlos situation. The fact that they pulled an emergency meeting to cut G2's spot, which I'm not, do we know who exactly replaced G2 last minute? Someone in chat?
I mean, I'm guessing it was like one of the
NA
5
teams,
North
right?
American
Maybe,
teams, so it was probably like an EG or an NRG. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think it was like 100 Thieves. I think 100 Thieves had a pretty comfortable
Look, I think
spot
I'm so happy for 100 Thieves and Nade Shot for making it because he puts in the work and you can tell that he's very passionate about it. And I think, again, how he handles his league team played a huge part into this as well, where they were like, dude, you're not a League of Legends guy. Like, you are a Call of Duty, you're an FPS guy at heart. The fact that you came into League and put 1,000% effort into this team and they're relevant and good team. And winning, I think that played a huge part in earning that trust with Riot.
So where past relationships didn't work out for some teams, I think with the 100 Thieves, you're right, it absolutely did. Like their relationship with Riot and their ability to show that they can come in and they'll put in the money, the resources, like these facilities that they have in place. You know, if you saw the league facilities, they made a video just on it, not just on it, but like just about the league facilities. Yeah. It was fantastic. You know, like I think they've just shown that they're worth it. They're an amazing brand. Their apparel line is off the charts. They'll make some stuff now directly like Valorant related, which just helps. So, you know, it's cool all around. I think them and Cloud9 to me were the obvious NA teams that were going to be in there.
Yeah.
Right. Cloud9, I think for the exact same reasons. Cloud9, whether they're a top team or not, they're putting in the resources to be competitive, and the branding is still
right.
You know, yeah, the branding is still some of the biggest in NA, and having that fan base along is it's going to be, you know,
yeah. No,
great.
I'm happy with Cloud9. It will give me a reason to watch for sure, but
Evil Geniuses seem like they got a little lucky here with this whole G2 situation, right? It's not a bad org to have in there, and they have a past relationship with Riot, but I feel like they were on the outside looking in, like they haven't been competitive
Yeah.
at all, really, in Valorant.
It almost would have
And
made more sense for TSM over Evil Geniuses, but to our point though, that before we went on this, is after seeing how they reacted with Carlos, I can almost see, and this is just my theory here, is like with a team like FaZe, there's enough bad press about them to where Riot is like,
like Riot, in my mind, is thinking, look, we already get ourselves enough bad
like,
press.
The irony is not lost at the fact that Riot is literally writing out checks as we speak to people to settle on sexual harassment charges.
Yeah,
the irony is not lost.
This is not us thinking that Riot is like being saintly in their selection process. They're just not wanting to get screwed more than they already are.
This isn't like, man, you know what? Riot is just a class act and policing the scene. This is like
a really safe selection of teams, right? Evil Geniuses and NRG are like the most PG organizations there are. Nothing overly exciting happens there, but they're big enough in terms of like where the money is coming from, that it's worth taking them, right? You have Cloud9 and 100 Thieves and Sentinels to draw the fan base,
like,
right?
Is like, we can't risk another NFT crypto scandal from you, FaZe. Like we just can't.
The fan bases for NRG and Evil Geniuses Valorant teams are like NRG a little bit more hype, right? They got Ethan and stuff like that, but still relatively like.
And NRG, they have so much backing behind them. Like the investment behind NRG is
put together a dominant roster now because it's a free for all that's going to happen here, right? So all these teams that were irrelevant a couple weeks ago are going to be, all of these teams will be powerhouses here pretty soon, right?
So Canada says he thinks it was Leviathan.
Which also wouldn't be surprising, but that would make like a 6-4 split. So
are we saying their name right? Is it Leviathan? We're saying Leviathan. I don't think it's Leviathan.
Okay, well, let them earn
Leviathan. You know what? Get more than if you get more than 100,000 Twitter followers, I'll learn how to say your name right. Until then, you're Leviathan. So
that does not go for us.
If they were the replacement for G2, it makes even less sense that they're in the league, because you just went from a juggernaut of an org in G2 to an absolute no-name South American team.
Like, was there not another selection available? Like, did nobody else answer? Or like, how did that work out, right? Because like, then if you were thinking, because it was rumored that G2 was going to get XSET's roster, right? So that would have been an NA team.
Like, this almost seems like an intern mistake.
The guard, or I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's a handful of other teams they could have thrown in there.
I think you're right. I think they just wanted the representation. But again, no knock on them, okay? But they're like from Chile, and like, what representation are you missing out if they're not in the league? Like the 8,000 viewers from Chile. Like, what? I'm not knocking on anyone. Hey, I love me some Chilean food, but
you're gonna get all this hate coming our way when you know damn well that the South American crews, they go hard. They probably have like
Brazilian crews go hard.
Tier 3 game. They probably got like 75K watching on Twitch.
Are there 75,000 people in Chile right now?
Okay, there are way more than that, and I will look this up real quick for you.
I don't believe you. That's Chilean propaganda. No, so I think
19 million.
19 million, and how many of them know what Valorant is?
It says 12 million. Know what Valorant is on here.
All right, and only 70,000 of them follow the Twitter. So, my point exactly. The math checks out. Look, I'm happy for them. Maybe they'll look. With the amount of free agents out there, they could at least, they should be decent.
All these teams are gonna be good. So we're knocking them for what they were for getting in. So this discussion
it's a fire sale right now.
We're surprised that they got selected, but they're all going to be good. Like,
Yeah. No,
gonna,
it's going to be. That's honestly the more depressing thing of all this is you now have all these orgs that went from tier 1 to tier 2 so fast that they can't keep their players. Like, there's just no way they can or would or want to, right? You're not going to pay tier 1 salary to be on your
30K a month to play
on your tier 2 team. Like, you're just not going to do that.
Not in Dual League.
You're right. So he's got to be. So it's like it is sad to see like these teams like Optic that were so good just being ripped apart from.
You know what's even more sad, Tim, is the fact that some of these teams like a Cloud9 or 100 Thieves, like they have set rosters going into this, and those players aren't even safe.
Yeah, like some of those guys are like, hell yeah, guys, we made the league, and they're like,
our
buddy,
team made it. It's like, bro, our org made it.
Org made it. You, on the other hand, are
if
getting
we
sent
can
down.
get yay tomorrow, sorry, you're gone.
Right. You are getting sent down, boss.
It's just funny because I've seen some stuff about like people jokingly saying like, hey, I'll call you, see if I can, like, for all these free agents, hey, I'll hit up my DMs if y'all want to possibly get a spot. It's
right.
Like, dude, your job is not even safe right now.
Yeah, so. There's no way. And I wonder what are the mindset of these orgs that didn't make it. So like, we'll use Optic as the example just because it's the best one because they were number 1 in NA and for all intents and purposes could have easily made it, right? What is their mindset now going into it? Where, okay, your mentality is you are tier 1 and we were the best and that should be our expectations always going forward, blah, 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 blah. But then do you really want to sink that time and effort into being number 1 for tier 2 when you feel like you were just gypped out of a spot in the league? Like I
think it just depends on what the price is going to cost, right? Like, I mean, if Riot is, it depends on a couple of things, right? A, what is it going to cost to have a good tier 2 team? B, what is Riot telling these teams that were on the verge of getting in? Like, hey guys, if things go well year 1, we're going to open up 4 more slots going into year 2, or we're not going to have expansion for the first 3 years. We want to see how things go, right? Like a lot of that, there's so many factors that come into play that would help you determine, like, should we stick around in the scene at all? Because if Optic wants to stick around in Valorant and stay in the tier 2 scene to possibly get into the league, they'll get the best tier 2 players at a discounted rate because people will also want the branding and the recognition from like Optic, right? So it might not cost them a ton to be really good in the tier 2 scene and give yourself a chance to possibly get in. But that, again, depends on what Riot's wanting to do long term.
And I think some teams like version 1, they're in a tough spot because they don't have the brand recognition like Optic does, or maybe not even the pockets that they do. Who knows, right? That's just me bullshitting. But are they gonna, like, a lot of these free agents that don't make it to the league, right? They're still thinking, well, I deserve top dollar. Like I was on Cloud9, right? Like we were on Optic, and now I'm a free agent that didn't get picked up on a team.
They can hope for whatever they want. They can ask for anything.
That's what I mean, though. So it's like the salary for these guys are going to be like so, like the difference is going to be insane because it's like the org is like, bro, we got to pay you like a tier 2 player, and they're thinking, well, no, I'm a tier 1. Like, what are you talking about? I was just on this team that.
I think everybody is going to have realistic expectations, right? Like if you were making 15K a month playing because you were on one of the best teams currently, and now you're not in the league, if your expectations are still that, well, guess what? You're probably not going to be on a team.
Right.
Like no one's going to pay you that. So the teams will set the standards there. I mean, Riot might put something in place where a minimum salary still has to be there for tier 2. Who knows, how that scene will end up playing out. But I'm more interested now knowing who's going to be there, and I'll be even more interested when I see where some of these players go, because that's kind of what we've been following a little bit more than the teams is like just individuals, right? Who pops off? Who do I
Right.
like watching? Um, and look, NA wasn't I say NA, the Americas region wasn't the only one that had some surprises. Like EU was right there with them, right? Like there was a handful of teams that we were curious if they had a chance to get in. FPX has been good since literally day one, it feels like, of Valorant, and they're sitting, atop EU right now as the number one team not getting in. Guild and Ascend.
That's just got to be
I,
their finances, FPX.
I think it's kind of the same for probably Guild and Ascend to a certain extent too. I know a lot of people are disappointed, but they're still like up and coming orgs
Yeah.
in my mind, right? Like they have good brand recognition in Valorant, but not really so much outside.
Right.
Like it's only within the scene that I feel like that they're really known right now. OG, Mad Lions, Big. There's a couple other teams that didn't make it through, but the selections there actually look like pretty decent in terms
Yeah.
of
You have Fnatic, Navi, Liquid, and Vitality. Like I would feel like as long as you ended up with those, like you did pretty good.
yeah, and we got Team Heretics who's been around for a
Yeah.
long time, and like there's a couple of like newer teams, but that have done well on the EU side. So like EU looks a little bit more kind of intact. You feel like you got all the big name orgs. You don't feel like you got shafted too much there. For the SA side or the Pacific region, I really couldn't tell you much about it other than,
I mean,
hey, cool, Genji is in there,
What-
T1's
I was
in
gonna
there.
say Gen G making it. That's cool. Your boys, Global Esports, made it. Good dudes. We've actually met the CEO, the owner.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
good dude for Global Esports, was super chill. T1 did go back. They went home. So for those
I don't
wondering,
think they went home. I think they got deported. And that was more about like, hey, you don't have a choice. We need your branding in that region. So
Right.
that's the region you're going to play in.
T1 was like, "No, guys, we want to stay in America." And Riot was like, "No, you're where
Nah,
you belong.
nah.
You go
Go
back."
ahead and kick Steel tomorrow and keep those other 3 Korean boys you have on the team, which is what they did. They kicked both the NA players, or released them both, because they're not going to play in that region,
Of
obviously.
course.
Kept their 3 Korean players, and then they'll now find 2 additional replacements. But yeah, Steel unfortunately is also on the free agent list now.
I do feel like that's going to be a very fun division to watch, though. The Pacific Division, like the top teams in there are going to be very competitive.
A lot of the teams that we see on here are also recognizable names, right? Just from like kind of what we've seen throughout Pacific Valorant, right? So Zeta, Genji, T1, DRX, Paper Rex, Team Secret, like names we're fairly familiar with. We happen to be familiar with Global Esports. I know that's not for everyone, but like there's a handful of teams there that's like, okay, seems like they got the bigger players, at least from that region, involved.
Yeah, for sure. Now, on to the next topic here, the elephant in the room, G2 and Carlos. So G2 obviously did not make the cut. Originally started out on the EU side of things, then announced that for League, they were applying for an American side, the NA side of it. They wanted to be in the Americas division for whatever reason. Everything looked in like, okay, well, that's a surefire bet. Like, of course G2 is going to make it, not only from a brand recognition standpoint, but like they were also good, right? They're not bad in Valorant and everything like that. Though, Anuj, we've learned, in fact, there are some people, what did Carlos kept saying? I am not G2. No one is bigger than G2.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily the case on how you look at this, because Carlos, last week, tweeted a video out of him partying to celebrate something for G2. And
September 17th.
September 17th. So life comes at you quick. A week ago.
8-second video.
An 8-second video. In 1 week's time. 8-second video. He posted it. He was at the club partying, and some people are like, wait a minute.
They were celebrating G2's World Championship in League.
And everyone was like, hold up. Was that Andrew Tate that we just saw? And so obviously, timeout. Disclaimer. Before we get into the weeds and the nitty gritty of this, okay? I am not on TikTok. I don't indulge in TikTok. It's a different world to me. So
I will be your connoisseur here, Tim.
Disclaimer. All I know of Andrew Tate is what I see on the headlines, and that is he's a douchebag, he's a misogynistic, and an asshole to the highest order.
And he's also like accused of like being involved in sex trafficking and stuff like that.
That's what I did not. Okay. That's what I was about to say is my knowledge stops there. Now, so if I'm saying all this and people are like, well, dude, Tim, he's like raped 500 people and he's Epstein 2.0. I did not know that. So
again, that's like accused, not like convicted. It's been like rumored. I don't even know how accurate that is, but it's also what he says people believe is harmful to like today's youth.
Right. Well, yes. Yep. And again, from what I've seen of him, all fair points. Like the dude is...
It's 100% accurate. He's just a douchebag, and I know you can't ban somebody's voice. I don't feel like that's also the right way to go, but you don't want him involved in your scene, right. You know? And so the funny thing is, Tim, before you talk about what happened, when I saw this video, because I saw this when he posted it, I honest to God thought it was like a troll. Like he said, hey, celebrating G2's World Championship, and he took like a reel from Andrew Tate's, like one of his clips, and like posted it. Because you don't see Carlos, I don't think, in the video itself. It's him taking the video. So I thought it was a joke, honestly, because I recognized Andrew Tate and his brother, who was right next to him there, right in the forefront of the video. Like it was almost about him, it felt like.
Yeah, I would not. I mean, I saw the video and I had no idea what I was looking. I mean, I didn't know it was a big deal until I saw that it was a big deal, right?
Yeah.
And again, that's me, just not. I don't know the influencer world, Anuj. Now, if he like took a video of like Pocoyo, JJ from Coco Melon, any of those guys, I'm fucking all in on that, right? Like I could tell you every kids show out there. Andrew Tate, not so much. So this happened on September 17th. Posted the video of celebrating with Andrew Tate. But it wasn't like he like said, oh, I'm here with Andrew Tate, right? So it was, like you said, just like a fly by the seat of your pants video. Then later that day, obviously it blew up. He tweets out, and I quote, and I have to imagine he tweets this as his, like through the vibrations of his phone blowing up from the PR staff to shut the fuck up. I'm imagining he's just fighting through those vibrations, tweeting this out. Nobody will ever be able to police my friendships. I draw my line here. I party with whoever the fuck I want. September 17th. On September 18th at 9 a.m., so just over 12 hours from that last tweet, he tweets out, many G2 fans were let down this weekend, which created confusion about what I stand for. It has always been my consistent target to stand for absolute equality of opportunity, regardless of who you are or where you are from, which is what gaming is all about. G2, I guess that was like a longer tweet, whatever. I guess this is the next one. G2 is above Carlos and always has been. I will do anything to protect this company and my colleagues in it, as is my unconditional duty to them. And he quote tweeted the statement from G2, which said, Carlos is effed and he's taking a 6-month leave of absence without pay. So that's kind of where
8 weeks.
8 weeks. Sorry. Yeah. 2 months, not 6 months. 8 weeks. And then kind of laid low. Everyone's like, okay. In the meantime, Riot announced the teams that made it. And everyone noticed, oh shit, G2's not on the list. And it quickly came out Yeah, Rumorville going around. G2 was on the list. They were in the photo, and all this shit came out. Riot called an emergency meeting and said, guys, what are we going to do? And Riot said, you know what?
Leviathan.
Leviathan, we really needed them in, so this is like the perfect opportunity to get them in. And we already have enough women who hate us. We don't need more. So we gotta kick out G2. So G2 is out of the league. A multi-million-dollar mistake by Carlos. And look, this is the risk you run. When you talk shit, sometimes you gotta eat shit. And he did. It finally came back on his fuck you, I'm better than you attitude, where everyone thought he was like just a fun troll. I don't think that's the case. I think this is him. And it finally came back to bite his ass. He's saying, well, G2's bigger than me. Riot didn't see it that way because it was your actions that completely fucked over the entire org out of millions of dollars. And now he's no longer, was it yesterday?
Yeah.
Yesterday, they tweeted that he is completely stepping down as CEO. He's no longer with them. He posted a video of the announcement, which, did you watch the video?
I did.
It did not seem like I just ruined everything type of video to me. That's just my humble opinion. This is just one man's opinion. It did not seem like that sympathetic video to me.
I feel like I could see that he was like broken in it, though. I honestly did.
Like he wasn't the normal
when
Carlos.
I watched it, I really felt like this has to suck. Okay,
life comes a week ago.
Think that this hurts him real bad.
A week ago, he was popping $1,000 champagne bottles,
but not even this was his company.
Oh
right?
Yeah.
Although he is not now majority owner in general.
Right.
Even
I mean but that's how it works, right? When you get up there,
he started this with his own money as nothing and built it into what it is. And in terms of esports, he's also been an amazing personality and brand ambassador for a long time for esports and heavily invests in whatever game they're actively competing in, right?
Right.
Never half-asses it, never allowed that to be the case.
He's an all-in kind of guy.
This is a huge loss in general for just esports. And I understand that his actions totally fucked him here, right? There's no doubt about it.
Which I even said, if you join our Discord, folks, we're still in there. And I said in that Discord, the day this all happened, I said, Carlos kind of fucked himself. And there were people in there, Joey, love you, said, no, I don't think so. I think you're wrong. Just no. All right?
Yeah,
I got my pulse. I have my pulse on the scene.
The letting go, to me, it's just too much cancel culture. He's not, yes, he was hanging out with somebody that nobody would approve of someone or wanting them to hang out with based on their views, right? But at least to my knowledge, and if I'm wrong here, somebody please correct me. I've never heard of any abuse from Carlos. I've never heard abuse type scandals or sexual harassment or even inappropriate language was happening at TSM with Andy Dim. Those stories haven't come out, at least yet, right? And maybe some stuff comes out, but it hasn't to
what I've always heard of Carlos, and our friend Kevin Correa, he actually had him on his show once upon a time. So he would at least have an opinion better than us as far as him personally as a dude. But I've always heard, Carlos talks a lot of shit and he can come off as an ass, but he's a good dude. He has your back. That's what I've always heard.
If you were an owner and not you specifically, if you were an owner and you were coming from a previous player background, like, you feel you're probably more one of the boys,
Of
and, like,
course.
that's
Of
just kind of
course.
his, like, owner
Yeah.
personality that kinda took over, and
Yeah.
it, like, worked so well. Like, he was never
No, he was you know what he was? He was the Mark Cuban, right? Mark Cuban's
Yeah.
gonna sit there with the boys on the bench. He's gonna yell at the refs with you. He's gonna yell at fans. He's gonna yell at the other team's players. He's in the trenches with you, and I felt like that was kind of how Carlos was.
Like, I feel like you and I always liked him, as an owner a lot. Like, we never spoke badly of
No,
Carlos on the show. Like,
no.
I always
I did always enjoy them losing, but that's just because,
it was
again,
like it was the whole thing. Like, it was their whole bit at that point,
like
right? Like,
yeah,
to
and
blow
again,
leads
I
and
like seeing shit talkers eat shit once in a while, right? It's
but,
always
like,
fun.
at the end of the day, like, I feel like a suspension would have been enough.
Yeah,
Whether it was 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, like, a suspension would have been
yeah.
enough, and then you give him an opportunity to, like, redeem himself. But
So this is what I think happened. And I agree with you. Does the punishment fit the crime? Seems a bit harsh. Again, I just know
his second tweet is what killed him.
that,
But
right. Like that was the
his second
had
tweet
he
was the nail in the coffin.
had he
but
just tweeted the
still,
video and then came out saying, "Hey guys, just give a generic PR answer." I am sorry that the video makes it look like this. I don't support what Andrew Tate is or blah blah blah.
to be fair, it was
Lie.
probably sloshed, and that was a same day tweet. It was like same
Of
night,
course.
you know.
He's
like
still
he
riding
was,
that high, right? Of
yeah,
course, of
yeah,
course.
yeah.
But at the same time, buddy, just fucking lie. Just say, yeah, I don't support him. He's an asshole. He was just there. He just kind of showed up. Say anything.
Anything. Yeah.
Anything would have been better than what you tweeted out.
That was
And
like my guess is an intoxicated Carlos are reading tweets at people shit talking him at that point, and he just kind of fired back like he
right,
does. And and you're absolutely right. It just bit him in the ass this time because it was
right.
a little bit too far. But
Now,
I'm,
if and
I'm
I do
still for
believe
like a second chance type. Again, he did not commit these acts. He hung out with
right.
somebody who did, and then doubled down on
But I
it's
will say,
okay.
I'll say a few things here on the Andrew Tate situation. I think where if there's enough smoke, there's fire, and if there's enough rumors going around that he's part of this sex trafficking ring and all that shit, I could definitely see why it's like, buddy, maybe don't invite him to the bar tonight, right? Maybe party with him afterwards or something. But if that's not true or whatever, and he is just kind of an asshole on TikTok and he's a misogynist and blah blah blah, still from an owner's perspective, and what we've learned in esports is like, don't fucking do that. But at the same time, I feel like him stepping down as CEO was not because of that. It was because it cost them the spot in the league. I think the suspension,
damage had been done.
yeah, I think the
and
suspension was, hey, you messed up and you hurt our public image, and then you did it even worse by doubling down. So you're out for 8 weeks with no pay. Okay, fair enough. He's an idiot. The, hey, you need to step down type of thing was, you just cost us like millions of dollars right now. So we're not coming back from this. We're not going to forgive you. You've kind of lost the and that's the thing, right? Even as a CEO, if you lose the respect of your peers, when they like, didn't G2 just sign a female roster, right? If you lose the respect from your peers in that sense, like it's over. Like you're done. And Carlos lost the respect of a lot of fans and a lot of his peers in this action. So it does seem like he's getting set an example a little bit. Just a little bit being made the example. Like he's definitely falling on the grenade, I think, for a lot of people on this one, where it's like, Riot, who are you to cast stones? Like pot, meat, kettle. You know, a lot of these people who are wanting Carlos's head, it's like, well, let's not forget that.
a lot of people just didn't like him for his personality, so that doesn't help too, right? Because for as many G2 fans as there are out there, there's also a lot of G2 haters out there too, right? For
Right.
people that were ready to jump on him for something,
But I just think it's like when you have half of esports being owned by Saudi Arabia now, right? You have Bobby Kotick still as CEO of Activision Blizzard and all their shit that went down. You have Riot still writing checks out to people for sexual harassment. Like,
and some of those people still in the same jobs.
right, yeah, those people still at Riot. I feel like on a scale of Carlos needs to lose his job, I don't know where we got
Pretty
there.
harsh.
Right? I don't know how we got there.
We,
other than the fact that this did cost G2 a shit ton of money and investors and things like that. Like that,
yeah, I mean,
you know, you're not, I guess the
again,
difference.
the situation sucks all around.
Right.
G2 not being in the league hurts the league.
Right.
Carlos not being part of G2 hurts esports. Like, it's not, you know, people can say this is a win. G2's popularity will drop because of this. It's not going to go away. Obviously, they're a huge org with a massive fan base, but a lot of people truly liked him as an owner and like thought they were cool to follow because like people would tweet at him, "Hey, go get Monacy, you know, go pick up Nico." And like, guess what? He did shit like that.
He was kind of like he had the Hex effect, right? Like people liked G2 because they liked Carlos. If Carlos leaves, they're probably going to follow Carlos. If he comes back to esports.
Not anytime soon.
Not anytime soon, but again, he was a former player. Like his life is kind of esports, so I don't know what other options he has. I mean, he's got enough money apparently to cope with it, but you know, I was a little shocked to see that he was stepping down. Like it's so soon too. Like let's let the dust, like why not let the dust settle a little bit? Like let's do a week of your suspension and see where people's heads are at. Seemed a little bit more of a reactionary action than a
no, but I think you're right.
Solution?
I think it was like the fact of not getting into the league probably was like,
yeah,
okay, well, you really screwed us. It wasn't just your image that was hurt here. You totally messed up a major part of our business model, which is,
you know, like
getting into these leagues. Like it keeps your brand alive by being in these leagues, right?
Right.
And so G2 is now, as we talk about Optic and all these other teams, could potentially go from being one of the most recognized teams in Valorant to like now non-existent in Valorant.
Right.
And so when you're only in like 5-6 games, whatever they're in, you know, like to not have one of those is huge. And so, you know, again, things escalated very quickly. I am one for redemption opportunities, especially in the case of like, again, he's not the one doing those actions. He's supporting it by hanging out with him, I guess you could say. But
which
damn,
I mean, I feel like you got to be guilty by association a little bit. Like standards are different
like,
when you're
that's
CEO,
a thing, right? That like that's the saying. So guilt by association is a thing, and it's like people get upset for it, and you should. It's just I think we just took it too far.
Right. I think the issue is you don't mess with people's money, and his action messed with a lot of investors' money with G2. And as orgs in esports, as we've learned, you really don't make money off the team. You make money off investors and shit like that. And the fact that you missed the one opportunity where you could just straight up make money from Riot, I think that's ultimately what bit him in the ass. Like, I think the suspension was because of his actions, him stepping down, quote unquote, right? I don't think that was just like a him going into the boardroom on a Friday morning saying, guys, I just want to do the right thing and step down. No, I think that was like a conversation they were having with him. I think that was because of the money issue. I think that was, dude, you just lost us everything.
Yeah. I mean, it's still, to me, it still sucks to see. Like, I'm still sad to see him out of esports. There's very few personalities like that. And he really is like, you know, a one-of-a-kind type owner and figurehead for an organization. Like most of these guys are overly professional or behind the scenes completely where we don't even know who they are. And he was somebody that was at the front of it and kind of listened to fans and shot the shit with them. And some of that stuff was cool and you don't see it enough. And now we're, you know, losing one of the few that do it.
I just need more information from him before I cast stones. Not saying I'm not willing to cast. No, we won't. We won't.
I don't know. In general, I don't think we see him back in esports. I really don't. Like, I would love to be wrong here,
Right.
but I'm thinking of it as like
For him to start all over.
He's also probably fed up to a certain extent.
What
like,
if him and Andrew Tate just make an org? Then what would? I mean, you can't get fired from that org.
And the Saudis would let him play
What
in
if?
their league.
Yeah. What if Saudi Arabia funds him and Andrew Tate's org?
Oh God, could you imagine?
Like
they call it the boys club.
The boys club. They host a all-female league, and the stage is just set up like a kitchen.
Water spring on the stage only.
Oh man. See, and this is where he fucked up. You can make jokes like that
about other people.
Yeah. You just don't also support Andrew Tate, the guy
you just don't go hang out with Andrew Tate in person.
You don't go hang out with the guy who would actually do
it. You don't take the fucking video, dude. Don't take the video. Why? Like, why would, even if you want to be his friend, even if you think he's a cool guy because he's a dick like you at times, right? Like, even if that is the case, to post that video, like, it just was such a dumb move.
That's why I just need him to be like,
move. That's what sucks, is like, it was just so stupid and avoidable, and
I just need Carlos to come out here and be like, no, he was there, but it was like a friend of a friend of a friend situation, and he just kind of showed up, and I was like, dude, you're kind of like an asshole. I need something like that. But
I didn't know who he was. Like, right. We were in mixed groups. Like,
the double down tweet, like, and you're probably right. He was probably completely sloshed when he tweeted that tweet out.
Andrew Tate's serving him drinks.
Yeah, like that, the double down tweet.
A good time.
It just ruined any what is it? Something of a doubt, right? Whatever.
Yeah, like if he had just shut up and saw all the responses.
Yeah, he could have lied his way out of this.
Yeah, so easy, so easy.
But no, he decided to stand his ground, drunk or not. And say, like, no, I'm his friend. And it's like, oh, God, nope. Like, we have friends with different opinions than us, but I don't think any as strongly as what Andrew Tate has. So that's your issue. That is your issue.
That was unfortunate.
So, like I said, disclaimer, does seem a bit harsh to lose your CEO spot, but again, money's money. He did cost him. And Andrew Tate's an asshole. So the lesson here is lie about your friendships. That's the lesson learned here, folks. Lie about your friendships.
Somebody you shouldn't be friends with, then maybe don't publicize it.
I'm not saying you can't be friends. Carlos, no one is saying who you can or can't be friends with. We're saying who you can and can't be friends with in public.
That's make a hidden Discord channel.
That's the point.
There,
it's very easy to create an anonymous profile nowadays on the internet. Why you decided to post the one guy everyone absolutely despises beats the shit out of me. But oof. That's, yikes of the year candidate right there. All right.
Yikes of the year winner right there.
Right. That is true. Like, you cost your org, and I do like the fact that, like, he's completely out of it too, right? So, like, you cost G2 all this money, and then you're like, yeah, guys, I'm out. No, this ain't working for me either. I'm out. So he's like, okay. All right. So there's that. Anything else you got on that?
No, I think that's a wrap, Tim.
Well, I got just a few e-news. Shout out Juke.gg tweeted out saying, much like us, need investors. So if not, it's like October 7th, maybe coming up. They're shutting down. So good friend. They've been on the show multiple times. We've always pimped them out on the show. We love Juked. Amazing listen, from about episode 300 to 400, we would never have had e-news if it wasn't for Juked. So amazing resource, but it does suck to see them go.
For sure.
Gundam Evolution came out, so if you're playing that, hit me up. Anuj, you can download it. We can play it. I don't think you'll like it, but you can download it and we can play it. It's free to play.
Yeah.
It is fun. Canada plays it. He can back me up. He does, you know.
I downloaded the Call of Duty beta.
It was next on my list, so I need to download that. Mixed, from everything I hear, very mixed opinions on Modern Warfare 2. I do chuckle that one of the complaints is you can't see the enemy names over their heads. Like, they're like, you can't see an enemy name over their head. I'm like, listen here, kid, okay? It's called competitive. You shouldn't be able to see the enemy names over their head.
It's like they just wanted a certain way.
Maybe play a game where you don't hop around corners every 5 seconds and you wouldn't have to see names over their heads to see them.
I was interested in getting the MP, but seeing that there's like no ranked or anything like that it just doesn't seem that appealing. And the hate is already out there. Although I think the game will actually be pretty good, and I think it'll be a lot of fun to watch, honestly.
Right. It looks good.
Well, I'll play Warzone 2 for free when that comes out.
Yeah. Yep. Wolf asks in chat, what do we think of the CDL 2023 CDL layout? I'll let you know when.
I'll have to educate me.
I'll let you know when I look at it.
we retired a month ago, buddy. This is a comeback just to talk about Andrew Tate because we support him fully, right, Tim?
Again, did not know who he was.
It was the only person Tim followed on TikTok.
Yeah, it's my anonymous TikTok he's the only person I follow. Apart from not knowing who he was a week ago. Yeah, I'm really into him.
I bet Carlos wish he didn't know who he was a week ago.
That's true too. Like, hey, I know you said you want to be friends with anyone you want to be with, but like, where does that relationship end now? Like, what? What is that text message from Andrew Tate like now? Like, hey, bud.
Do you think Andrew Tate wants to hang out with somebody that's like now a nobody?
Yeah, right. Like, now you're jobless, bro. Like, if I don't know. And knowing Andrew Tate, from what I know, he'll probably just blame a woman or something. Like, oh yeah, it's okay, Carlos. Is like your other CEO like a woman? Like, yeah, it's her fault. A disclaimer: I don't know who Andrew Tate is. I'm just making jokes. No, I did know CDL. I think is starting though in like December, so that's good to see. They're not like taking a.
Clayster's back on a team. That's exciting.
Yeah. So, look, I will watch. It's just I need to let it. You know, Call of Duty. It's like that awkward phase between Call of Duty League ending and the new Call of Duty coming out, and no one gives a shit about it. Like, it's
once rosters are set and the league's going, then I'll be tuning in to see the players I want to watch type thing. But I'm more excited for this year than years past just because of the type of game that like modern setting,
right? And a 2 year,
bit brighter,
2 year timetable. We're watching this game for 2 years, so
that's right.
It's the first time in almost forever that you can say that about Call of Duty, is that we will be seeing a team carry over to the same game. So, but all right, well, that'll do it, everyone. Episode 401, it's done. It's in the books. Thank you so much for listening. Anyone who stopped by and chat. Oh, by the way, we are YouTube exclusive, so their checks cleared. So we've been bought out by YouTube. The money is so big, I can't even talk about it, but we're talking Andrew Tate partying in a club type money.
Yeah.
So don't be surprised if you see him in one of our videos coming up. Carlos
R salary type money.
Yeah. His new salary. His new salary. So we will not be back next week. Maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
No, we definitely. I will not be back next week.
Listen,
for sure.
If Saudi Arabia starts an org with Andrew Tate and Carlos, you're gonna be back. Like, under that condition,
we'll be back.
Under that condition, we will do another show next week. But until then, let us know when you want us to do a show, because it's sort of on demand at this point. We can make an excuse for that. Hit us up in Discord. We're always on there. We're playing games, downloading a bunch of stuff. Wolf, see you in 2 years, buddy. It's only been like a month, so our hiatus was pretty good.
Not too bad. Like,
yeah, our hiatus was.
Well, we're back a little bit sooner than I thought, so you know what? There'll probably be something in
it was fun.
Another month or two.
It was fun, but anyways, follow us on Twitter @thecentering. For Anuj, I'm Tim. Love you. Bye. Bye. All right, there you have it. Everyone in chat, hey, thank you guys for stopping by.
That was fun. That was
It
fun.
was.
I'm glad we did that.
It was good being back. I missed it. It was fun just shooting the shit. I can just feel my wife's angry daggers though staring at me through the walls. So
I'm wondering if mine is asleep, honestly.
mine might be,
but
but
check. I'll
I
have to
don't
look at it
know.
and check.
She was like, I thought you guys were done with that. I'm like, it's like a one-off, babe.
Now come back and tell her you got to edit and let's go like game a little bit. Say, you got to do some editing. That was always the classic line. I love that. That was nice.
You know, if you really want content, we should record ourselves, like say next Sunday or Monday. Just secretly record the conversations of us telling our wives that we're going to record again to do like 2 weeks.
We should just tell them we're back full time.
Like, oh, it was great. We loved it. We just can't wait to come back.
We're gonna go back to 2 a week.
Yeah, right. The fans really showed up. We got a lot of good feedback.
Yeah, you'll see the divorce papers real soon.
Oh my god, yeah. Let's see. Wolf says in Pro-Am COD Mobile code. I don't even know what code is.
CDL all in one major. No, that's kind of
Challengers and CDL in one major. What's code? Call of Duty Explorer? Internet Explorer? I have no idea.
I don't know either. Third person mode. Who knows?
You've been hard stuck in bronze. Man, it's the grind is real. We're kind of endowment. Call of Duty endowment.
I don't even know what the fuck that is.
I don't know.
Oh, is there like a...
Is that the military league?
something?
Is that a military? I know that's what the college... Is it a military league? That's kind of cool.
I didn't even know about that.
I didn't know it existed. The military bowl. Oh,
Ah,
shit. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, because all the other ones are so small, honestly, except for Challengers. Challengers pretty decent size,
Right.
but like all of them are.
But that's how it should be, right? Like any game should do that. It needs to be a celebration. This has always been my bitching about anything when we go to events. Is like that's why Overwatch League worked so well when they were in person, which they are doing a finals in LA. Did you see that? That's a rare W for Overwatch League is they're bringing back in-person finals and it's in LA. It's out of like a old Circuit City. No. But it's like make it a celebration, you know? Like make it a celebration of Call of Duty.
Put a BlizzCon or what's that? Not Quake.
QuakeCon?
QuakeCon, yeah. Like make it a celebration of
right. QuakeCon is everything Bethesda and whatnot, and it's just like boom, you go there and it's like, oh, this is awesome. Like everyone loves these games because it's there. That's what it needs to be. There's no reason to separate Call of Duty Mobile to its own event because just whatever.
If we did an in-person show one time and you brought your laptop, could your camera just come with it?
Yeah.
Like, is that easy to do?
Yeah, I have a tripod. Literally, that's what I was going to do. When I text you about tonight, I was just going to bring my laptop. Really, the only thing that
How would we have talked? Like, how would we use mics?
So I can either bring those headsets that we have, or I have 2 of these microphones and we just hold them. Like, like a couch podcast does,
When I get the media room set up, we could do a pretty cool like live show one time in there.
No, I agree.
I just actually bought the TV today.
Nice.
So that'll be here next.
What's the size?
83.
Nice.
Yeah, so we could do like a cool little backdrop with that or some shit in there. It'd be fun in there. Could do it one time.
Yeah, I'm down. I am down anytime. So, all right, ladies and gents in chat. I acknowledge our lady listeners because this is an anti-Andrew Tate podcast.
It is.
Just want to make that clear. All right, it was good being back. We'll be in Discord. Everyone in chat, love your face.
God bless. Love you.